This is the OnePlus 13R, the absolute best deal in tech right now for any of you looking for a flagship-like experience at a not-so-flagship price. The big brother OnePlus 13 has actually been my favorite daily driver of the year, and after switching to the OnePlus 13R for over a month and even spending time with it on trips, I think it's honestly an absolute steal at an MSRP of $599 USD, or even better for Canadians, $699 on sale right now. I don't know how it's possible, but at this price, you're getting flagship quality components like a flagship processor, flagship display, beyond flagship battery life, a flagship experience, and as for cameras, you'll find out later. Let's start with the beautiful hardware of this phone though, which unlike the OnePlus 13, uses a flat edge design that's so common with all phones nowadays, like the iPhones, the Pixels, and the Galaxies of the world. I have the Astral Trail color here, which looks absolutely stunning with its almost ivory color, etched with sparkling rings that circle along the camera bump, which just looks so elegant and head-turning. And as for the camera bump, yes, it's huge, but I don't mind it, and I like how everything is tucked under the glass so it's flat. And hey, it's also a conversation starter because everyone asks about it all the time, and I guess it looks incredibly cool to non-techie people apparently. I also have to give a major shout out to the sandstone cases from OnePlus, as well as they just have that classic grippy texture we all love from the start of time. Not to mention they actually have MagSafe magnets integrated in them as well, which I love to use especially in the car. Also, it sucks to say that OnePlus is changing this again, but at least on this generation of phones, you get the absolutely amazing alert slider just like the old days, which I honestly can't live without and hate when I don't have it. You can easily slide the toggle to change between silent, vibrate, and ring settings easily from your pocket without needing to manually do it on display, which I just find extremely handy when you need it. I am actually pretty curious to see how the next generation of so-called plus keys will replace this and if it will actually be better. But yeah, the only real downgrade spec sheet wise for the exterior of this phone is a less durable Corning Gorilla Glass 7i instead of Victus glass like we see on flagships, and a reduced IP65 dust and water resistance rating, which is quite unfortunate. What's not unfortunate though is the battery life, because this is by far the absolute best selling point for this phone ever, with a 6,000 milliamp hour battery capacity, which just so happens to be the biggest battery in a OnePlus phone ever as well. I don't know how to describe this other than the fact that this can basically last you through an entire long day perfectly fine, and with light usage even into the next day, as you can literally get 8 to 9 hours of screen on time even with a 5G network outside all day with full brightness on a display, which is literally better than any other phone I've tested all year round. And when you need to charge the phone, the 55-watt charging support gets you 50% in just 23 minutes, which is wicked fast, and the fact that you actually get the charger and cable that supports this in the box is just a cherry on top. Now here's the one killer: no wireless charging. Honestly, that's up to you whether it's important to you or not, but with the battery lasting this long, I can forgive it, especially since I don't use wireless charging at all, even on my other devices as well. But if you need to squeeze out even more battery life, whether you're having a long day or are traveling with this phone like I did in New York recently, you're gonna need a power bank, and these two right here from the sponsor of this video, Anker, are absolutely the most genius products I've used, so let me show you why. Now, my favorite of the two is actually the Anker power bank, in which I guess that's what the name is, but it means that you don't need to carry loose cables with you anymore thanks to two built-in ones. You got the first retractable USB-C cable that comes out the top and extends up to 2.3 feet, which when retracting, magnetically stays put inside the cutout so it doesn't dangle out. Meanwhile, the second cable actually dangles out and is cleverly hidden as a carrying strap that supports up to 44 pounds. It's super thick and grippy, and I just like how easy it is to slip the USB-C head in and out. And if you need extra ports, you also get another USB-C port on the side, in which all three of the ports I just talked about support 100 watts of max power, and then finally a USB-A port capable of 33 watts. And at pretty much the same size as a tall can, you get 25,000 milliamp hours of capacity, which is plenty enough to charge this phone several times, and even my MacBook Air and then some, in which charging these two devices at the same time gives me a shared 165 watts of power output, in which this is the breakdown for three devices if you're interested. And the power bank also supports 100 watts of input for 30% of juice in just 20 minutes, which is super handy. If you need something beefier though, the Anker Prime 27,650 milliamp hour power bank is an absolute tank, being able to do 140 watts individually on the USB-C ports, which would be amazing amazing for laptop users who need high wattage charging, and the fact that adding an additional device to charge gets you 100 watts through the second USB-C port while maintaining the 140 watts output of the first port is insane. Just like the 140 watts recharging of this power bank if you have a fast enough charger, like this pretty 140 watt one from Anker with an awesome display for all your devices, or even 170 watts of recharging with dual USB-C inputs, which I've actually never seen before. I also love the big display that shows the percentage, input and output wattages, and charging times very clearly, in which the first power bank I showed is also capable of doing that too. Truly some insane high-speed power banks from Anker, which are all amazing, especially coming from such a reliable brand from over the years, and if you're interested in them, I'll leave my exclusive links down below in the description and the pinned comments, in which this will actually be the biggest discount of the year only for Prime Day, so make sure to grab what you want before the sale ends. But anyways, thank you so much once again, Anker Canada, for making this review possible, and let's get back to the phone. Now, continuing on this theme of awesomeness, the display on this phone even matches the spec of the one on the OnePlus 13, but just uses a flat display instead of a slightly curved one, which I honestly prefer as it's less easy to crack, which I unfortunately did with my OnePlus 13. You also get an insane peak brightness of 4500 nits, which makes the screen visible in the brightest of suns. You still get the LTPO tech that allows the screen to dynamically change between 1 Hz and 120 Hz for battery savings, and no compromises on the thin bezels like we can see with cheaper phones as well. Also, I really appreciate the fact that OnePlus does apply a good quality screen protector out of the box to protect against scratches, although it's plastic, and cool enough, the display works with wet fingers too thanks to their Aqua Touch 2.0 technology. Another telltale sign the phone is cheap though is also the haptics experience, which to my surprise isn't bad at all, as it's pretty strong, it's not hollow, just lacking a bit of that extra crisp from the OnePlus 13. The fingerprint scanner, despite being downgraded to an optical scanner, is also surprisingly good, being the most reliable and speedy scanner I've ever tested that's optical, with my only complaint being that it's super low on the screen, but you'll quickly get used to that. The only forgettable thing though are the stereo speakers, which, just like the OnePlus 13, don't sound amazing as they're not super loud, not very detailed, and get slightly distorted at max volume, but not enough to be a deal breaker considering I still daily the OnePlus 13. And just like the OnePlus 13, performance is also excellent on this phone, as I think OnePlus made an excellent decision here by choosing to go with last year's flagship chip, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, instead of a newer generation mid-range chip. This means that you're getting the same performance as all the flagships from a year ago, which is especially important for those of you who like to do any sort of mobile gaming where you can really tell mid-range and flagship chips apart. My favorite game to play is actually PUBG Mobile, in which the experience is just awesome even after hours of gameplay thanks to the large vapor chamber that prevents the phone from overheating. And as a bonus, OnePlus actually advertises 120 FPS gaming on PUBG for this phone on their website, so that's pretty cool. And it's just definitely an amazing choice for those of you who want to play graphically intensive games on a budget, and the fact that OnePlus didn't cheap out and also give us 12 gigs of LPDDR5X RAM and fast UFS 4.0 storage like flagships mean that they actually care about giving us the fastest performance they could put at this price point, so well done OnePlus. A big part of that is also thanks to OxygenOS, which despite it evolving a lot over the years to be more like Oppo's Color OS, is still honestly just as amazing as I remember when I was a huge OnePlus fanboy back in the days, having owned the OnePlus 6T and the OnePlus 8 Pro that I used as my video camera when I started this channel. I just love the aesthetics of the UI, all the spacing and design elements matching my preferences, especially compared to the ugly One UI in my opinion, not to mention how insanely fast and fluid day-to-day usage is without having any sort of lagging or stuttering. I also just love the split quick settings toggle menu and notifications just like on the iPhone, in addition to the global search to quickly open apps and even search across your own apps like photos. And the customization is just awesome too, down to being able to choose between different fingerprint scanner animations, very in-depth icon adjustments to your own liking, the transition style between your home pages, tons of flexibility with their always-on display, floating windows for notifications and apps, lock screen gestures for easy access to apps and functions, which I actually use a lot, especially for the flashlight, and that's just scratching the surface. OnePlus even copied Apple's Dynamic Island with their own version called Live Alerts, which I actually really love for your music controls with Spotify in the background, although I wish it did support more apps like Uber and Uber Eats and stuff like that. And last but not least, we have the cameras, in which the OnePlus 13 is actually my favorite photography camera of the year, thanks to the Hasselblad collaboration, and tuning, but unfortunately, the OnePlus 13R doesn't share that much in common with that phone, as there is no Hasselblad partnership for this phone, and none of the sensors are even shared at all. You still get a 50 megapixel main sensor, but with a smaller sensor size, an 8 megapixel ultra-wide camera, only a 2x telephoto lens, and a lower res 16 megapixel selfie camera. On paper, that does sound like a pretty big downgrade, but honestly, after using it for so long and on my trip to New York, photos honestly still look pretty good despite no Hasselblad tuning, as it's still sharp and vibrant with great contrast and pretty detailed across all lighting conditions, and yes, even low light as well. I actually did an entire day in a life exploring New York City with this phone and took a ton of sample photos and videos, so if you want to check that out, if it's up by the time you're watching this video, I'll leave it over here for your own enjoyment. But yes, cameras are not the strongest suit of this phone, in which I would actually recommend the Pixel 9a if you want the best cameras for cheap, but these aren't bad at all, and I would still have absolutely no problems using this for photos. And thankfully, they actually still include the Hasselblad filters that I love on the OnePlus 13 in the Photos app, which gives you an easy way to edit your photos without using manual adjustments at all, which I actually really like and appreciate. So finally, in conclusion, it's an amazing phone for the money, in which I think it's just one of the best deals on the phone market right now, especially for Canadians when it's on sale, and it's just perfect for those of you who still want a flagship experience at a lower cost, at least for people in North America, as we really don't have many options out here, unlike people overseas with access to all those Chinese brands. Not to mention, man, the battery life just absolutely blew me away for how good it is, and with that, I actually have absolutely no problems or hesitation recommending this phone to all of you guys. And honestly, man, I'm just proud of the comeback OnePlus is having at the moment as an OG OnePlus fanboy. But yeah, that's it for this video, and if you have any questions about this phone, feel free to let me know down below in the comments, and I'll try my best to get back to you. And also, if you're still here watching, by the way, thank you so much for staying all the way here, and I really hope you enjoyed the video. And also, make sure to leave a sunglasses emoji down below so I know you're a real one. And once again, huge shout out to Anker Canada for sponsoring this video as well, and just make sure to check out all their amazing power bank chargers and other products down below. And on that note, make sure to smash that like and subscribe button as always, and also check out my other awesome content. And yeah, have a great one, and I'll see you guys in the next one.